Once you have your individual DXF files for each member of your group, we're going to combine them together so that we can laser cut the entire group's parts in a single step. And so you need to get all of your DXF files together on a single computer. And once that's done, you can go to Adobe Illustrator and go File, New, and we need to make a new custom template. And I already have a template created, but I'm going to show you the settings that you need. You need the width to be 12 inches. I think by default it might have points, and so you need to change it from points to inches first, and then change the width and the height to 12, because we're going to be cutting these out of 12 by 12 inch square piece of 1/8 inch thick plywood. Then just double check that under advanced options here that the color mode is CMYK. I think that's the default. And then change the raster effects to 300 ppi or pixels per inch if it isn't set already. You can give it a name, but then you don't have to. You can just leave it as untitled. It doesn't matter. But if you want to give it a name, you could say laser 12 by 12 or something like that. And then we just go create. And this creates a custom artboard for us to place all of the individual parts on. Once you have that, you can go File, Place. Right here, Shift Control P is the shortcut. Hit there. Before I select the part, or before I place the part, I want to make sure that this button, Show Import Options, is selected. I think by default it is not selected. It is critical that it is selected. And then you select the claw or the pieces that you want. And if you want to select multiple pieces, if you hit the Control button, you can select them all. Okay, so while holding Control, I could Control left click them all. If you wanted to do just one at a time, you could just select one and place. For now, I'll just place one, and then in the next, I'll just do the remaining 3. So I have 4 here representing a table group of 4. So once we have this and Show Import Options is selected, I'm going to go Place. It is important that you choose original size. The Showing Import Options gives you this pop-up, and by default, sometimes it scales the piece to fit the artboard, and we do not want that. We want the original size, and we go OK. And then we can go and left-click, and there is the claw. Now, I want all of the claws in there, so I'm going to just go File, Place again, and then show you to do the remaining 3. Again, Control Select allows you to select multiple, and I can go Place. Again, original size, hit OK. Original size for the next one, OK. Original size for the third one, OK. And then if I left-click, I can kind of place each individual one there. And now I have those parts. To move them, I can make a box around them, grab the edge, and kind of move them around. Now, what I want, there's a number of settings that I want to make. The first thing I'm going to do is select one piece, and I'm going to go View, and then we're going to go to the layers. It's just been a little bit since I've done this. Sorry about this. Huh. So, I'm sorry. Here's the layers tab. I'm sorry about that delay, but I'm going to go over here and select layers and hit the drop down, and you can see each individual piece. And if I click that, then I can look at each individual hole in each piece. In short, for each piece, you can see all the individual holes, and then way down at the bottom, I can see the perimeter. I am going to drag the perimeter to the top. I'm going to do that for all of the pieces. And the reason why is the laser cuts in a specific order. And specifically, it starts at the bottom layer here and works its way up. I want to cut all the individual holes out before cutting the perimeter. And that's why I want to make sure the perimeter is at the top for all of them. Then once I have that, I can make copies. And I want 2 copies of each, so I can just select everything and go Control C and go Control V and make another copy. And if you're tight on space, realize you can grab an individual piece and move it to make it closer to the other. And we want to utilize as little material or use up as little material as possible. So it's important to kind of move things around so they're closer. If you need to rotate a part, you can. The easy way to do that is select it and go Object, Transform, um, Object Transform, and then from there you can go Rotate, and you can rotate it maybe by 180 degrees, and then we can go OK, and now the part is inverted. And so maybe sometimes you can fit things closer together if they're rotated like that. And so maybe I'll just to show you. Of course, we don't want anything overlapping, so we want to make sure that things are cleared out of the way. But when things are cleared out of the way, we could grab this one and maybe move it up closer to the other. Now, sometimes rotating doesn't save you any space, but sometimes it can. And so realize that you have the ability to orient the parts differently than just how they are initially imported. But in short, get the parts fairly close together so you're not wasting a bunch of material. Maybe I'll put this one up here and this one up here. And if I spent a little bit more time, I'm sure I could get them closer together. For example, I went Object, Transform, Rotate, and maybe I only rotate it by like 160 degrees or something. You can go OK and maybe get it up there a little bit closer. So there's some options that you could spend a few minutes. So take your time, get it nice, so that you're saving material, because we could use this bottom part of wood for something else in the future. Once I've done that, I'm going to select everything. I prefer that you change the view up here from Essentials to Essentials Classic, and that gives you a lot more options here. There's a few things that we need to do. We need to select everything, and we need to change the color to red, like the CMYK red. And that's not the, I'm sorry, I selected the wrong one. Not the fill, but the actual line stroke we want to change to CMYK red. We want to change the stroke width, that's how wide the lines are, to a really small number, 0.01. And then we also want to go Object, Live Paint, Make. And what that does is ensures that the software on the laser side can pick up all these smaller holes. Once you have that, then you are ready to go to the laser and cut out the part. So I'm just going to go File, Save As. Typically, you're going to save this to a USB drive or something that we can get on the laser computer. So you can then just go save on your computer and then give it a name and save it to your USB drive. I don't have a USB drive on this computer right now, so I'm just going to save it to my downloads folder. And we can say, period 3, group 2, or something like that. So that's a nice way to separate them out. We can have the period and group or table group number. So then I have that saved, and you need to hit OK. Make sure that it's all saved on your USB drive, and then you can go in with me into the laser room and get it cut out.